today's video is going to be kind of different. I'm going to cover a few different themes in this video, a few different topics. I'm going to cover how I failed my no buy this year, the current state of the makeup industry, and pushing of more and more collections and more products for these brands that push these products and collections on us constantly this past year. Because honestly, this past year, the market of the makeup industry has just been saturated with new collections and new products left and right. And honestly, it kind of is very overwhelming and very just crazy because it doesn't really give the consumer time to think about what they want to buy. It's more like that these brands are just pushing collections down our throats left and right, that they want to keep our interest all the time, 24/7, so we can jump on those launches and jump on those products to be the first ones that have it because we have to have it. And I'm kind of getting tired of that, to be honest. So that's why I just wanted to cover that in this video. So first off, I wanted to talk about that I failed my no buy this year. And I was doing so well in the beginning of the year. I think I made a 3-month update. I don't think I ever made a 6-month update. So now I'm making a 9-month update. And I would have to say I have accumulated more products in these past 6 months than I did the whole year. And I think that's kind of ridiculous. I was trying to restrict myself of getting more products by kind of following what the Fancy Face did in her no buy when she had said that she was going to limit herself to getting 3 products a month, and that's what I tried to do as well. But I kind of failed because there were so many things I was still interested in trying this year that I was like, fuck it, I'll just, calm down 1 month and then buy more products the next month, and then I'll be on a no buy for this month, and then I'll buy more products the next month. But honestly, I really just need to stop, take a seat, and relax because I am justifying my purchases by saying I did actually declutter quite a bit of makeup this year. So I am defending my purchases by saying that I decluttered a bunch of things this year, but I still don't think that decluttering is really an excuse for still buying too many products that I can handle, and I end up overwhelming myself. And I'm really trying not to buy products because an influencer tells me that I need it. I really don't do that anymore. But I was really trying to limit getting eyeshadow palettes this year, and I really did fail. I did declutter a bunch of palettes to Marley, and I gave her like 10 eyeshadow palettes, but I still ended up picking up a bunch of palettes this year. Even though I didn't really get much makeup in January and February, I think on like the tail end of March, I had picked up 3 eyeshadow palettes already. Because I was looking back on my makeup purchases in the first couple of months of the year, because I was looking back on my YouTube videos, and I saw that the one online makeup haul that I did basically canceled out those 2 months that I didn't buy eyeshadow palettes or really that much makeup at all, because then I just bought a ton of makeup in March anyway. So then it's just basically canceling out all the no buying that I did in the months of January and February, because I picked up 3 eyeshadow palettes in March. I picked up the Beauty Bakery Proof is in the Pudding palette. I picked up the Milani Pure Passion palette. And then I picked up the ColourPop Sweet Talk palette. And I did really good about not purchasing too many ColourPop palettes last year. I only purchased 3 last year, and those were my first 3 ever from ColourPop because I had the single shadows and I had the Super Shock shadows. But ColourPop really is a brand that is very guilty about pushing and pushing and pushing new products, and we'll get into that very soon. But I picked up 5 ColourPop palettes this year, and now I'm going to have 8 ColourPop palettes in my collection. And I know that doesn't sound like too crazy, but the fact that I've picked up almost 10 eyeshadow palettes this year, and we're not even at the end of the year yet, is kind of ridiculous to me. I even picked up 2 palettes that I haven't even hauled yet, but they just sucked me in, and I ended up saying, oh, I need that, I need that. And I'm still like, trying to use as many eyeshadow palettes as I can, like newer palettes that I've gotten, so I can test out the new palette that I'm still waiting for in the mail, because I just ordered that. But after this, like, I promised myself I was going to be on a strict no buy this month and also next month. I wasn't even going to buy anything until the Sephora VIB sale rolled around. And usually in the November sale, usually that's when me and Chip do our makeup swap. So I think we are planning on doing that this year as well. So I'm not going to be buying products for myself. I'm going to be buying products for somebody else, but I'm still wasting money. Not, I mean, I still love her, of course, but I'm still spending money on makeup that I could be spending on something else or saving up. And I made a huge ColourPop purchase yesterday because they came out with a collection that I could not say no to. And I feel kind of guilty about it, but at the same time, it's like, once you get that new package and you open it, like I've said before, it's kind of just like Christmas for yourself. You're unwrapping a gift for yourself. You're unwrapping something that you know is going to make you happy for a limited amount of time. But, at the same time, I still love makeup. I still love wearing it on a daily basis. I just love it. I never get tired of it. I really do love doing my makeup. It really does make me happy. But I said to myself this year that I was going to be really smart with my makeup purchases, and I feel like I have been, because I haven't just been getting something because every YouTuber says, oh, it's amazing, you need it. I really have just been making purchases on things that I really do want, rather than just jumping on the bandwagon and jumping on the trend. I kind of did with the last eyeshadow palette that I just got from Ulta that I will share with you guys soon. But I want to talk about ColourPop because ColourPop, I feel like brands feel like they have to start competing with ColourPop because ColourPop is a huge brand. I would say that the 2 biggest brands in the makeup industry right now, besides mainstream brands, I would say would be Morphe and ColourPop. Even though you guys know I hate Morphe, Morphe is a huge brand. Okay, they have stores now, so they have been able to expand like crazy because of the YouTube community and YouTube basically pushing their products left and right, saying you need Morphe. I feel like people don't feel the same way about ColourPop, that they absolutely need everything, but I feel like ColourPop, you know what, I think ColourPop's actually more so trying to compete with Morphe by pushing and pushing and pushing new products. But they don't shove the collections down your throat, but they are very guilty of just releasing way too many makeup products. And I feel like, again, they kind of overwhelm the consumer, making the consumer think that they need every single collection that they come out with. When truly, when you actually look at these collections, like especially the 9-pan collections that they're releasing, you don't really need it. Honestly, like, they come out with a 9-pan eyeshadow palette, and then they come out with, like, the rest of the collection are like all of these glitterly obsessed products, which are glitters that you can't even use on your eyes. You can only use it on your body. So I'm just like, why is it that they come out with these? They should be coming out with like ColourPop Super Shock quads. I feel like they really don't push the Super Shock shadows anymore because I feel like they've come out with so many other new products. And the thing is that with ColourPop is that I feel that they still come out with some really innovative things, and they come out with stuff that are different. I do think that their collections are always stunning. I really do. But they need to slow down with how much they do release the collections because basically people have gotten used to that ColourPop releases a collection every week. And I've been giving into that as well because, like I said, I purchased 5 ColourPop palettes this year. I didn't need 5 of them. I purchased 2 of the 9 pan palettes, the Main Squeeze palette and the Honey palette. I had never purchased the 9 pan palettes before that because I didn't need the green one, I didn't need the purple one, I didn't need the pink one. I'm like, I have those colors in my collection already. And I didn't feel like that I needed to collect them. I mean, they were really cute and the packaging did look really appealing to me, but I just really tried to hold back because I was like, you know what? I'm only going to purchase another ColourPop palette if I really, really think that it is worth it to me and looks like a color scheme that I'm really going to enjoy. So that's why I purchased the ColourPop Sweet Talk palette as my first ColourPop palette this year. Um, Sorry, my boyfriend's texting me. I'm gonna see him in like an hour. So anyway, um, so I purchased the Sweet Talk palette and I really did enjoy that palette for the springtime, but I feel like I was kind of just purchasing a new pop palette for like each season this year. Like the Sweet Talk palette was my spring palette from ColourPop, and then the Main Squeeze palette was like my June, July palette. I think I got it around like the beginning of June. So it took me really like just like 4 days to test out the palette because those palettes were like easy palettes to test out because there's only 3 or 4 lid shades in there, so it's not very hard to test out all of the colors really quickly. So that's why like the 9 pan palettes weren't exactly like overwhelming purchases to me. But I got that because I really did enjoy creating like 4th of July looks with it and just like really fun like watermelony like reddish tone kind of eyeshadow looks with it throughout the summer months. But then I decided to get the Honey palette as well because I felt that I didn't have any like color scheme or any eyeshadows really similar to those yellow tones, but a lot of people were saying that um, some of the shimmers were very similar to the Natasha Denona Gold palette, and even though I don't really like Natasha Denona that much, I really did fall in love with the quality of her eyeshadows this year, and it really does annoy me that I ended up really loving that gold palette and also really loving the Sunrise palette. I actually think the Sunrise palette was like the best palette I purchased this year. I love that palette so much. Besides the So Jaded palette, of course, I'm wearing it today. And I should have just waited to purchase this palette rather than getting the Main Squeeze and the Honey palette. If I just held out and purchased this palette instead, I wouldn't have needed the Honey palette or the Main Squeeze palette in my collection because I could have just been using this to create most of those looks. Like there's a yellow in here, there's some red tones in here that I could have used to create some of those looks. I know they're not the exact colors, but this palette has enough variety for me that I thought that it was different enough for me to add to my collection. And that's what I forgot to do this year, is that I just purchased palettes because I wanted them. I mean, again, like I said, I was really trying to not just purchase palettes to purchase them, but I kept on looking at certain things, and when I would wait a couple of days and still want it, that's when I was just like, okay, I'm gonna get it, because I didn't try to just jump on it right away and get it, and I wasn't like going to just purchase things and not like know how much money I was gonna have to actually get them. I'm not like that. I always make sure that I'm gonna have enough money to actually purchase the products. Maybe not this past week, but it's fine. Um, but like I said, I purchased way too many palettes this year. I purchased those 3 palettes, then I got the Main Squeeze palette, then I got the Lion King palette and the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette after I got the Main Squeeze palette, like around July, I think. And again, that was already too many eyeshadow palettes. I purchased 7 palettes already. And then after that palette, those palettes, I purchased the Honey palette. And then I got the ColourPop So Jaded palette. So it's just ColourPop really is just, even though they release too many products, I do think that they release products that are different enough to keep my interest, and I am giving into that. But I do think that they release really innovative products. And I think that their innovative products and their good releases get lost under the radar because people's attention are just going left and right to different things all the time because they release too many collections too frequently. Like, they release the Main Squeeze palette, then they release the Baby Got Peach palette, then they release the Honey palette, and then they release this Lilac collection. When you actually look at these collections, all they are, like, besides the eyeshadow palette usually, every other product in the collection now are all repackaged products of existing products that are already in, like their Just a Tint lipsticks, lip tints, or their Velvet Blur lipsticks, or their existing eyeliners, or their existing mascaras. And the only way that they're catching your attention with those is that they're just repackaging them to be different colors. Like the new Lilac collection, the sticks that are in that collection, like the cheek sticks, those are just repackaged cheek sticks that are in purple packaging rather than white packaging. And I'm not going to give in to that for I don't ever purchase repackaged products unless it's in a bundle that I have not purchased yet myself. Like, that's why I got the Peach lip bundle from the Peach collection, because I did want to pick up a piece from each collection, even though, like I said, most of them were repackaged products, but I did pick up products that were different enough from each collection, that were newer things and had never been released before except for in this collection. Like, I got the Honey palette and the Main Squeeze palette, but I also got the Watermelon Lip Duo from the Watermelon collection as well, and it was the Watermelon liquid lipstick and then like a really beautiful like confetti looking gloss. And I thought that those were different enough from, and plus, like, I really wanted a new hot pink lipstick to add to my collection because I didn't really have one. And I was like, you know what, I'll just get a ColourPop Ultra Matte Lip because I know their formula is amazing. And that lipstick ended up being amazing for me, so I loved that. And also, before that collection, though, I also picked up a few things from the Disney Villains collection. I did not pick up that eyeshadow palette, though, because I knew that I wasn't going to use it enough. And since I already picked up the Sweet Talk palette, I'm like, let me slow down. I don't need the Villains palette. But I ended up picking up other pieces from that collection. And I think that the products that shined for ColourPop this year, I think the Jelly Much eyeshadows were released this year. Those eyeshadows are some of the best eyeshadows I've ever used. They are so beautiful. I absolutely love them. And honestly, I wish I could just declutter all of my Super Shock shadows, which I'm probably going to do soon anyway, because they don't last forever. And I wish I could just replace those with the Jelly Much eyeshadows, but at the same time, it's like I don't want to overwhelm myself because I already have too many ColourPop palettes as it is now, that I just don't need every single one, but they are beautiful. And the highlighters that they released for the Villains collection, those were stunning. Like the pressed Super Shock highlighters, they need to do those more. That Maleficent highlight is one of the best highlights I've ever used before. It is so freaking stunning on the skin. They need to release more shades in that Super Shock pressed form. I know they already have the Super Shock highlighters, and of course Flexitarian is amazing, but that Maleficent highlighter, they need to release more. Those were beautiful. And I feel like people kind of get turned off because yes, I think it is really fun when they do just release a new product or new formula in like a new collection, like especially with the Disney collections now, they do release more different formulas, like the Super Shock pressed highlighters, and then in the new Disney designer collection that they just released now. And of course, I couldn't resist picking up things from that collection, so I did make an order yesterday. and that was one of my biggest orders I've ever made on ColourPop. But I am such a Disney fan, and I'm such a ColourPop fan, and I love the Disney princesses that I was like, I could not resist getting things from that collection. So I had to get stuff from it, and I know I don't need it, but the Disney collector in me is like, you need it. So I don't regret getting that stuff. Um, but they also did release a new formula in that collection, and they released the ColourPop Luxe Liquid Lipsticks. And I think that's kind of their response to people not really loving the Ultra Matte lipsticks. Um, I've always loved the Ultra Matte lips, but I'm really excited to try that formula. I only ordered one though, because I just ordered one of the bundles, and I only ordered one of them. Because I would say probably the best categories that I'm doing well enough in on not overwhelming myself on too many products would be lipsticks, because I haven't picked up a new lipstick since the Madison Miller lipstick, and before that I didn't even get that many. So, oh, it's UPS. I'm like, who is here? We're just getting a bunch of deliveries today. They released that formula, and that was, really fun and different, but I feel like it kind of falls under the radar because since it's a new Disney collection, they're like, oh, another new collection from ColourPop. So, like I was saying about like the Lilac collection and the Peach collection, there's like the repackaged Just a Tint lip crayons, and I feel like those couldn't really shine because honestly, those are one of the best products I've ever tried from them. They make fantastic lip products. Those Just a Tint lip crayons were so good. I wore the crap out of those in the summertime because they were so lightweight and so nice on the lips that I feel like people kind of forget about ColourPop's staple products. And the So Juicy lip glosses, those were a really fun release. And the sticks, the highlight and blush sticks, those were really, really fun releases because those were different for them. And those are beautiful as well. I actually ended up loving the highlight in there. It's so beautiful. The bullseye highlight, stunning. They really know how to do highlights, eyeshadows, and they really know how to do products well. That's why they end up being my favorite brand. I love them. But I end up having a love-hate relationship with them because they just push way too many new products. So let's cover some of their newer releases really quick because I do want to touch on them. And then we'll talk about Anastasia Beverly Hills because that's a whole nother thing. So they released the Lilac collection, right? And they came out with a 9-pan eyeshadow palette. And they also came out with this whole collection. And when I actually looked at the overall collection, I'm like, this really isn't different enough for me to really care about it at all. So I didn't pick up anything from it. I was like, I'm just going to hold out for the Disney Designer collection when I saw that that was released. And I'm like, that piqued my interest so much more than this collection. Again, these 9-pan palette releases end up getting really tired for me. And I feel like they're kind of turning off more people to the newer releases because these monochromatic eyeshadow palette releases end up becoming boring because there's no other different enough products in the collections to really make you want to pick up the products. Now, with the Strawberry Shake collection, I was not interested in that eyeshadow palette at all. And the Baby Cut Peach palette, same thing, was not interested in that collection at all. I did get the blush from the Strawberry Shake palette, and it's a beautiful pink blush, but I never actually owned a pink blush from ColourPop, like a hot pink one. So I really wanted to get that for the summertime, and it's beautiful. So that I thought was different enough. And then I got the Just a Tint Peach duo because I really wanted to try those, and I ended up falling in love with them. And they just, repackaged one of these lip duos. It's like, why don't you just release 2 new colors so people would be a little bit more interested? So none of these products really made me interested in picking up that collection. The only other collection I was kind of interested in trying, but then I was like, no, I don't need any of it, was the Whatever collection. I think that's really cute, honestly, because the blushes looked so pretty for fall, and so did the new lipsticks. I just thought everything just looked really fallish and pretty. I really loved the theme, and the eyeshadow palette just looked so beautiful. Even though they push eyeshadow palettes left and right, same thing with the California Love collection. That eyeshadow palette looked so stunning, but I'm like, I don't need it. I don't need it. I always feel like SpongeBob when I'm like, I don't need it. I don't need like water. Like that's basically how you feel with every single makeup release, is that like you kind of just feel like I don't need it. I don't need it. And then I'm like, I need it, you know? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Or do I just sound crazy? But this is the color scheme of the Whatever palette was just so pretty, and I'm like, oh my god, this would be such a pretty palette to add to my collection for a fall palette. But I'm like, no, I don't need it. Like, this is my fall palette. This is all I need. I don't need another eyeshadow palette. So even though it does look beautiful, I just don't need it. So, and then they released also this really beautiful palette to Ulta, and this was an Ulta exclusive. And again, I thought that this palette looked so pretty, but I was just like, it kind of just, again, falls under the radar because they just push way too many new products. So I was like, I don't need that palette either. So the only other thing I was kind of interested in trying from ColourPop is their new tinted moisturizer. Now, I actually haven't had a tinted moisturizer in my collection for quite a long time. My most lightweight foundations now are like the Bare Minerals stick, which I absolutely love, and the Physicians Formula healthy foundation, but I really want to use up both of those foundations before I actually pick up anything else foundation wise, because I ended up falling in love with the Anastasia foundation, and the Milk Makeup foundation is good, but I still love the Anastasia one more. But I just thought that this was different enough for me to try from ColourPop. I still haven't tried the primer or the setting spray, like from ColourPop, like the older one that they released, like the All-Star one, but I also haven't tried these either. Like, they did come out with a primer and a setting spray for this collection too, but Kathleen Light said that this tinted moisturizer is really good, so I'm kind of interested in trying it, but I probably won't even pick it up until like the springtime. Like, I don't really wear tinted moisturizers in the wintertime, and also if I just want to wear a light makeup day, I'll just go with the Bare Minerals stick or the Physicians Formula, or I'll just wear a concealer. And I'm just wearing concealer today, and I find that it's enough for me, that I don't really need a tinted moisturizer anymore. The last tinted moisturizer that I had that I absolutely loved was the Urban Decay one. That one is so good. The One and Done one, oh, it's so good. That I almost really wanted to repurchase that, but I did use that up completely. I loved that thing, so I was really happy that I got my money's worth out of that. And it's not hard for me to use up foundations. Like, I've went through 4 of the Giorgio Armani foundations. I went through a full bottle of the Lancome one. I absolutely love that foundation. So, but I don't really want to purchase another foundation until I use up one. I haven't really used up too many this year. Hopefully I will by the end of the year, but I haven't really used up a foundation fully, and usually it's pretty easy for me. I think the only one that I did use up is the Lancome and the Giorgio Armani. I think those were the only 2. But I'm still trying to work on like using up other ones. So I will definitely update you guys on that at the end of the year, like I always do. But like the tinted moisturizer, the Velvet Blur lipsticks, the Ultra Blotted lips, like those were more of like different products for ColourPop. And again, I just feel like they don't really have their chance to shine, because then they release a new collection like 2 weeks later, and it's just like, you need to like relax and kind of just feature and give your products that are newer and more and different for your collection, for your brand, a chance, rather than pushing all these new collections, because people are going to get tired of just having new collections left and right. So those are my thoughts on ColourPop. What do you guys think? I think it's fun that they do release new collections, but it's like, why can't you just do it once a month rather than just like once every week? Like, it really is getting ridiculous. Like, the Disney collection is so much fun, and I love their Disney collabs. I think that they're so awesome because I feel like they're like the only brand that does that besides Besame, and I'm really happy that I finally tried something from Besame. But it just makes me want to buy more products from ColourPop, and I think that they know that because they're gonna, really push on the makeup collector or the person that is the completionist rather than like someone that's first getting into makeup, because I feel like someone that was first getting into makeup is kind of getting overwhelmed from all these releases from them. So I'm actually wearing one of the Velvet Blur lipsticks today. I only have one of them, but I ended up loving the Velvet Blur lipsticks a hell of a lot more than the Ultra Blotted lips. This just feels so nice on the lips. It's so lightweight, and I really wish that, they would just give their more innovative, newer products a spotlight rather than pushing all these new products. So that's all I have to say about ColourPop. I do want to touch on Anastasia Beverly Hills and Too Faced, and that's about it. I was going to make this an anti-haul video, but I couldn't really find any other products I really wanted to talk about. So we're just going to talk about ABH. So if you guys didn't know, ABH stands for Anastasia Beverly Hills, obviously, but Anastasia Beverly Hills is basically the biggest makeup brand in the world now. They were for a long time, and then Fenty Beauty came along and kind of like pushed Anastasia to the side. And I feel that Fenty Beauty really just, because I think that they're the top two companies in Sephora right now. I think that they're always competing with each other, but Fenty Beauty just kind of releases products gradually, and they keep people interested because they cater to a lot of different skin tones, but they also like don't push like um eyeshadow palettes like left and right. Like, she doesn't really release too many eyeshadow palettes. She's probably maybe she'll release one for the winter time. I don't know. The only thing that I've really seen so far is just the lip gloss set, which of course I'm gonna get because her lip glosses are amazing. Um, but I just feel that Anastasia Beverly Hills, I've never really been a big fan of Norvina. I don't think she's the nicest person, honestly. I just don't like her. She just kind of comes off as very bratty and snobby to me, especially on Twitter. She acts like she's like the end all be all of the makeup industry. She's like, we release so many innovative products, and I'm sitting on my throne, and I just release all these amazing products that have never been seen before in the makeup industry. I'm like, chill, lady. Like, it literally looks like a copy of freaking Natasha Denona palettes. Like, that's what these Norvina palettes look like. Like, why are you pushing um all of these products? Like, the fact that you came out with two products, two eyeshadow palettes on the same day is kind of ridiculous. I think they came out with this last week. So these are the Norvina 2 and 3 palettes. Let me see if I have a picture of the first one. I don't think I do, but the first one was the only one that I thought that the color scheme was kind of pretty. But I knew I wasn't going to get any of these palettes already, that I was just really like turned off by them as soon as I saw them. I'm like, I don't need these. They do look like they would be a fun addition to my collection, but just having 30 eyeshadows in each one when I already have this, I don't need it. And I don't need like all of those pigments because I know I'm not going to use them enough. Let me just Google a picture of the So the first palette, it was more like focused on like purples and stuff, and it has like some reds thrown in there. But I mean, when you actually look at the theme of this palette, it's kind of just like what I heard from people is that the color scheme is just all over the place, and that's what I think too. I don't think any of these palettes were cohesive enough for me to really think about the um looks that I would make. And I feel like I know that I said that about the So Jaded palette and some of the other palettes that I picked up recently, but when I actually look at the So Jaded palette, I enjoy the color scheme in this palette more than I do in the Norvina palette, because I feel like with this one, there's more cohesiveness, and I feel like, the greens are placed where they should. Same thing with the blues. And then there's enough neutral colors in this palette that I don't feel like I'm overwhelmed looking at this palette, that I can create a lot of fun looks with this palette. So that's why I was like, I don't need this one if I have this one. Like, and plus this palette is $20 cheaper than the Norvina palette, and there's 30 eyeshadows in here. This is $40 as compared to, and I know people are saying, that's a lot for ColourPop, but since there's 30 eyeshadows in here, you can't really bump the price down anymore if you're going to have 30 eyeshadows. So let me stop talking about the So Jaded palette. So again, not interested. Thank you, bye. Thank you, no, bye. But again, there's only 7 shimmers in this palette, and then everything else is a matte. Actually, I think there's 8 shimmers, and then the rest are all mattes. And I just feel like when I look at the palette, I would end up creating a lot of like kind of the same looks, and I'm just like, no, I don't need it. And then this is the second one. I already have a picture of both of them side by side with each other, but let me just show you a picture of the second palette. So this is the second one. And the second palette had more blues and greens, but then they have like a random orange matte thrown in there. And I'm just like, what does this orange matte go with in this palette? Pretty much nothing. And then there's a random yellow and another random yellow. I'm like, oh, cool. So I can use one yellow with another yellow and then one yellow on the lid, and that's it. Like, there's not enough. They're different enough, but there's just all of these mattes thrown in here. I just feel like she's either trying to be Natasha Denona or Viseart here. I feel like with Viseart, I feel like they really do think about the color schemes in their palette, even though like I would never spend almost $200 on their palettes, and the same thing with Natasha Denona. I do appreciate that ABH's price range is a lot more decent. Like, I do think that this is a smart buy if you really want all the colors, and for the price, it's not bad because it's only $60 as compared to like $129 for Natasha Denona to almost $240, and the Viseart palettes, which are almost $180, which are like those big like Grand Pro palettes. But I think that those would be more of a better investment, because even though these are $60, when you buy all 3 of them, it ends up being $180, which is basically the same price of a Viseart palette. And I feel that those are more cohesive, and you could get a lot more looks out of those palettes rather than just having some random ass colors thrown together. Like, what is this burgundy shade doing in here with all of these neon shades? And the same thing with like this random matte brown and like these super similar blue tones and these greens. I'm just like, it's too much for me. And I'm just like, no, I don't need that either. I think the only one that I would kind of be interested in would be the third one. And this is the ABH Norvina 3. And this one, I was like, oh, it's going to be more of a warm tone palette because the outer packaging is warm toned. But then when you, again, actually look at it, it's way too similar to the second one. Like, why is it that there's teals in here and another red? I think there's a matte red in the first and the third palette. Why are you repeating shades? And then the same thing with the greens. Why are you literally throwing the same greens in the third palette that you did in the second one? Let me show you a comparison of both. And yes, the third one ends up being a little bit softer than the second one when you actually see the swatches. And when you actually look at them, they do look very appealing. Like, the more and more I look at them, the more I'm like, oh, these are actually really pretty. And I'm just like, I kind of want one. But at the same time, it's like, I don't need it. And I would never buy these because when I actually look at the practicality of it, I don't need them. So let me just show you really quick a side-by-side comparison. But do you see how similar they are? Like, there's a matte yellow, another matte yellow, both the same freaking shade. And then a teal and another teal with too many similar greens. It literally looks like they put the same matte greens from the third palette, from the second palette into the third palette. It's just like, why do I need that? I don't need that. And then it's just too many colors, like colors of the rainbow. I'm like, I don't need it. So I have no interest in any of those. Another one that I knew I had no interest in was the Jackie Aina palette. Even though I like the color scheme more in this palette, and I feel like that this is more of like, if this didn't have Jackie Aina's name attached to it, this would have been a palette I would have actually been interested in trying from Anastasia. Like if this was, I don't know, just like fall passion palette. I don't know, like something stupid like that. I just think that the colors are really pretty, but why is it that you released a palette with Jackie Aina and then literally not even 2 months later, you're releasing a palette with Carly Bible? And granted, I don't like either of them. Like, both of them rub me the wrong way. I used to be subscribed to both of them because I thought that Jackie Aina was hilarious. And then same thing with Carly Bible because I thought her makeup looks were freaking bomb. I loved her makeup looks. But then I found out like, like Jackie Aina of course was trying to slander and shame Petty Page and I was just like goodbye, unsubscribe. And now she in her own little queen throne and I'm just like no thank you. She thinks she's like the center of the makeup industry. I'm like no, like shut up. Sit down and shut up. But I've already covered that. And then when I actually look at the Carly Bible palette, it does look pretty. It does look like a pretty palette. I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, I'm like, I would never buy it because it has Carly Bible's name attached to it. For some reason, I like Nicole Guerrero a hell of a lot more than Carly Bible. And I know that they're like best friends. But what is really crazy to me is the fact that they never have done a video together. But the fact that Nicole Guerrero and Jaclyn Hill did a video together like way back when they were still friends is really funny, but now they're not friends anymore, but Nicole Guerrero and Carly Bible are like best friends. So anyway, I do like the pastels in this palette, but at the same time, why is there this random ass red shade in here? Like, why is it that, honestly, this is kind of very similar to the color scheme that's in the ColourPop Midnight Masquerade palette. And what's funny is that they both have a matte red in it. But I found that palette to be more appealing than this one because it's cheaper and it's Disney. So I couldn't resist. So sneak peek. But anyway, when I look at this, I'm just like, no, I don't need this. But why is it that this is your holiday? Like, they're already calling this their holiday release. It's like, you need to slow down. But basically, what the Fancy Face said about ABH is that she thinks that since their palettes or releases were delayed this year, that's why they had to keep on pushing all of these new releases. So let me try and wrap this video up. I only have 2 more brands to talk about. So basically everything that ABH has been releasing, I'm just like, no thank you. And then another brand that I'm just like completely over, and I know that you guys know that I have kind of a struggling relationship with this brand because they do come out with such cute stuff. And I did buy something from them like last year. I did give in and get something. But like I said, the only time I pick up something from them now is from Marshalls because, and I'm talking about Too Faced. So Too Faced is releasing this new gingerbread palette for the holidays. You guys know that Too Faced is the brand that will saturate the shit out of holiday releases. They always release like that is like their thing is Christmas releases. And I think they've released like 5 eyeshadow palettes this year, which is kind of crazy. There's one that's exclusive to Sephora and then one that's exclusive to Ulta. Then there's like this pumpkin spice palette, which came out in October, but it came out after their Christmas releases because Too Faced and most other brands start releasing their Christmas releases in September. Marc Jacobs does it like as early as August. He probably does that because he doesn't want the competition of the saturation of other brands, especially Too Faced, to compete with those in September and October. But anyway, you guys know the whole gingerbread debacle last year. You guys know my thoughts on that. I thought that that was absolute bullshit on how they did that. But that was the one palette I was interested in getting from Too Faced because everybody was like, it's so good, you need it. And honestly, I do think it's a really beautiful palette, but I just don't want to spend the money on it myself. But looking at the new one is a really pretty color scheme as well. But again, I just don't need these palettes. And since, I mean, there are quite a bit of similarities from the last palette to this new palette. But again, I don't need them and I don't have any interest in picking them up. Now, Too Faced is under a lot of controversy and under fire right now because of the whole Nikkie Tutorials and Too Faced collab that have recently been brought back to light. This is not like this is new tea, but people are bringing it up again. And honestly, I have woken up about Too Faced a long ass time ago that it's kind of crazy that some people are still waking up about the brand, that they're not they're a really shady brand, honestly. So, I've been, like I said, excuse me. Like I said, I've been turned off by the brand since the whole Too Faced peach debacle. So what are your guys' thoughts on the recent controversy that has come back to light about them basically gypping Nikkie Tutorials about giving her $50,000? And Nikkie has responded to it. Nikkie is not staying quiet. That's why I love her so much because I really feel like she's a big influencer, but she is so damn talented. I love her. I think that she's always like just about the makeup. She's not about, the drama. And I think that she really just lets her talent shine through. That I really hope that she gets hers and Too Faced gets theirs for the fuckery that they did to her because I think it's really fucked up, honestly. I understand she's probably not crying over it because I'm sure that Ofra paid her a pretty penny to collaborate with them, and I'm really glad that she got her chance to shine with Ofra. But I do think Rich Lux is right. I do think that a major brand has to collaborate with her. Like, why is it that Anastasia Beverly Hills hasn't come out with an eyeshadow palette with her or like a glow kit with her? Or what about Mac? Like, he said this in his video that, Mac is always looking for a new influencer to collaborate with. Why don't you feature Nikkie Tutorials? Like, Nikkie Tutorials is a lot bigger than Patrick Starr. Not that I'm saying that Patrick Starr's collaboration wasn't awesome, but why don't you come out with like 4 collections with her? That would do so well. So, yeah, Too Faced has rubbed me the wrong way for a long time now, and I don't need that palette. So, the last brand that I wanted to touch on, and this is not so much as an anti-haul for them, even though I'm not picking up anything from this brand so far, but I wanted to touch on Haus Laboratories. Now, you guys know how much I am a fan of Lady Gaga. She is my goddess. I love her so much. I love her. She's my favorite artist ever. And I was looking forward to so much of her cosmetics line, to her cosmetics line, I mean. And when they actually released it, the products were just so underwhelming. I'm just like, I understand you're playing it safe. You kind of want to see how the products do when you first release it. I understand you're coming out with these kits to make it a little bit easier for people to put things together, but I'm just like, girl, we need an eyeshadow palette. We need highlights. We need blushes. We need liquid lipsticks. Like, that is what we need. And I feel like she's kind of playing it safe because I think that um I'm really hoping that she gets released in stores at some point. I'm really hoping that Sephora or Ulta, or maybe she'll just have a pop-up shop somewhere. But I'm really hoping that she'll be available in stores at some point. So, but when I was looking at the products and I wanted to see whether or not I wanted to pick up stuff online, I'm just like, I don't need it. Like, it's just stuff that is kind of boring to me. So that's what it looks like. And the packaging is cool, but there's only like 6 lip glosses, some lip liners, and then like these Glam Rock liquid glitters. And people are saying that the products aren't that good. So I'm just like, I'm glad that I waited to not jump on the bandwagon of just pre-ordering it at Amazon because people thought that was already being shady because people were like, how come you didn't send out PR to YouTubers so YouTubers could test it out? They didn't send out PR until like the products were actually available on Haus Laboratories. So no one could really preview the products until they came out on her website. So that's why I was just like, I'm glad that I didn't give in. I mean, I love her and I have so many of her products. Like, I have all of her CDs. I have her tour books. I have a million shirts from her. So it's not like she's crying over me not giving her my money because I have plenty of products from her. But I just think that the products were not different enough for me to get. And then when I actually wanted to order something, you have to spend $50 or more for free shipping. So if you wanted to get just one of the kits is $49. And then it says, oh, you're $1 away from shipping. And I don't know if that means that it includes tax for you to get free shipping. Because if it does, then I would have been like, okay, maybe I'll get one. But like, I just think $50 is a lot for those 3 products. I feel like it's kind of not worth it to me because it's just a lipstick, a lip gloss, a lip liner, and a glitter. And I'm just like, I'm kind of waiting to see what Haus Laboratories has in store for us. I understand that she wanted to keep it universal. She wanted to keep it simple. I get that. That's cool, but I feel like with the oversaturation of products today, I feel like it's going to get kind of overlooked because when people look at Gaga, they expect extravagance, they expect something different, they expect something glam. And I understand if she wanted to go in a different direction, but I'm just like, girl, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I know you can do this. I cannot wait to see what Haus Laboratories has in store for us. And I'm hoping down the road I will want to be picking something up. So yeah, that is it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, sorry it was kind of all over the place. But I do have a haul coming soon of my failed no buy. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know how you guys are doing with what do you think about when you want to purchase a collection or a product. Do you really think about if you need it first? Do you just purchase it? I really would like to know. Are you just a collector and you're just like, I need it, I need it, I need it? I need to know. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media. Bye.